It looks like Hitsugaya got his gear third. What's up, guys? This is the review of Bleach, chapter 670. I'm going to talk about his new Bankai reveal in a moment, but let me just, walk you guys through the whole chapter. What do I think about uh, the other elements? Because I'm kind of pissed at this whole Hitsugaya thing. Also kind of curious, so it would be better if I talk later. Okay, so we see, of course, Gerald coming back to life and giving his fucked up speech that even even Chicken Lily gave us after reviving back himself. So nothing new that we all knew that this fight was not going to end pretty soon. We knew that this fight was going to last for a very long time. This is going to get a bit boring, and this is going to be a bit lengthy. Not a bit lengthy, but a lot lengthier than maybe probably the Parnaida fight, because Parnaida was also a part of Soul King's body. So at least it has to take as long as the Parnaida fight, right? So we knew that this is going to take a long time. So now we see Gerald's new transformation, which is kind of like he grew an armor on his face. It kind of looks like a beard or something. He probably also got a bit more taller than he was, but a bit more bigger than he was. Also, he might have got a new sword, which I don't really care about. Anyways, he pretty much takes out Hitsugaya, and then he goes after Zaraki. Now, Zaraki is not in his conscience. He pretty much is guts in his berserk mode. Like, Zaraki could pretty well cut down Byakuya or Hitsugaya, which he can in his mode, but he could pretty much do that with no problems at all. And he won't even realize that what he has done, because he is his complete wild and complete uncontrollable form. We also get to know that this Bankai of his has its limit, but not in a way that we would have thought it would be. I mean, it's not the power output that is the limit of his Bankai. It is the impact of that power output. I mean, the body of Zaraki is not capable of handling that much amount of strength. It's pretty much using Kyoken, where the user of that ability has the risk of damaging its own body. It doesn't have the risk, but it does damages its own body, because when we see that when Gerald was attacking uh, Zaraki, Zaraki also was also ready to attack, but his arm got ripped off, from his elbow, because he used too much of his power. And we see Chiru saying that, "Oh, I'm sorry, I didn't realize that your body won't be able to handle this much amount of power." So we get to know that Zaraki's limit is not basically the power output, but it is basically the amount of damage it inflicts on its own body. That's the basic limit that we have seen in his Bankai for now, at least. The next thing which happens is that he pretty much strikes Zaraki. He, I guess, is probably unconscious right now. uh, his arm is ripped off. Then he attacks Hitsugaya, and Hitsugaya, he sends him flying off. And this is where the actual meat of the chapter begins, where Byakuya observes that Hitsugaya's final petal is also melting. It's pretty much broken. It has melted, and Byakuya says that it's Captain Hitsugaya, you should transform. You should go Bankai. And Hitsugaya says that I never recall saying that when my last petal melts, that is the end of my Bankai. And and then cut to the next page, we see when we see that Hitsugaya has transformed, and he says that when my last petal melts, that is when, hear this carefully, listen to this carefully, okay? He says when my last petal melts, that's when Daiguren Yorimaru becomes mature. And we see that Hitsugaya is no longer the 12-year-old looking 1,000-year-old kid. I believe he's 1,000, maybe 500-year-old kid. But now he is pretty much an adult. I mean, he looks like an adult. Maybe he might be 18 or 20. I mean, of course he won't be 18 or 20. He is like hundreds of years old, but he looks like an 18 or 20-year-old kid. The point is that he has transformed. He has, I believe we could say that this is gear third. I mean, this came out of nowhere. Like, we knew that Hitsugaya has a new Bankai, but we didn't knew that his Bankai had a form of a second release state. You know, that's something which we did not expect, and I'm kind of pissed as well as curious. So I just go through it with you guys. So it is quite obvious that this transformation might have come up. He might have learned how to transform this way in the 2-year gap, the 18-month gap during the time skip. You know, when he comes back after the training that he had, because he got his ass kicked by Aizen, and I believe if he would have had the chance to go his gear third, he probably had put up a bit of a better fight than what he did against Aizen back then. But anyways, hopefully this does increases his strength. I mean, of course it will increase his strength. Anyways, so when he got out of his training, when he used his Bankai for the first time after his training, his Bankai got stolen. So because his Bankai got stolen, we didn't know what was the full extent of his Bankai. And many people were disappointed while we saw the fight of him against Gerald Valkyrie, because he didn't really showed any difference in his Bankai. Like, I mean, his Bankai kind of looks different now. I mean, it did look different then, but power wise it wasn't really that different. Okay, this kind of took me by surprise, because I was also one of those people who wasn't really that much impressed by his Bankai. Now, seeing the fact that he can transform after his petals have melted, why the fuck he didn't try to melt his petals as soon as possible? I mean, if I have a power which I could only use if my body is at a condition, then I would, and in a circumstance like that, I would probably put my body in that condition as soon as possible, which we don't really see him doing. I mean, he was trying to fight, but for the most part, he was back there, and he was just narrating the whole thing. Like, he wasn't really trying that hard. When Zaraki came by, at least, So, and even when Zaraki was fighting, I would believe he would do something to kind of speed up the process, right? So now we have this transformation where the transformation pretty much looks like he's wearing an ice armor, kind of like Sub-Zero from Mortal Kombat, kind of. He, of course, grows. Now, I am curious of what exactly he's going to do. Now, the first thing that came in my mind was that he probably would seal Gerald in some ice prison or some shit like that. You know, that is the first thing that came in my mind. Of course, I could be wrong, but I don't think that they have any other choice but to seal this guy, because if they inflict any pain, he will definitely get out of it, coming more stronger. Of course, how the sealing process, of course, after sealing him, how much that will work is still under question. Like, he might just unlock that seal pretty easily because, miracle. That is what I'm curious about. Also, I'm curious about the fact that how did he got to this point, and why didn't he tried to, melt his petals, kind of wear himself off as much as he can. Because if he would have done that, this shit wouldn't have happened. Zaraki wouldn't have had to go transform into, the full berserk mode. Yeah. Why didn't he do that? Anyways, dumb Hitsugaya maybe, or inconsistent Kubo maybe. But anyways, his transformation kind of looks cool. I'm really curious about what's going to happen. Yeah. So, what do you guys think about this chapter? I know it's an early release. It came out a bit earlier than usual. But what do you guys think about this chapter? Leave your thoughts in the comment section below. If you like this video, please like it. Hit the like button, guys. Please with a smile. Please. Yeah. And if you like my videos, or you think that I'm a crazy guy who's extremely opinionated, please subscribe. Please subscribe. Thank you. Until next time.